Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, DC Direct, Page Puncher, the Atom. This is the first Atom figure that McFarlane has made, another hero to add to your Justice League roster. And I have kind of mixed feelings, as he's definitely not the version of Atom I'm familiar with. His costume looks way different. I kind of yearn for a more traditional look, but McFarlane likes to kind of do the opposite. I got this figure for the McFarlane toy store. The entire Flash Page Puncher wave is in stock right now. So let's check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, age 12 plus includes exclusive comic book in the English language. DC Direct, McFarlane Toys. It's nice to see that DC Direct logo again. This is how DC Direct is going to live on, through artist-specific figures in the Page Puncher line. DC, the Atom. Here he is the package. He has a display stand, collector's card, comic book, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and then this accessory here, which looks like a giant hula hoop, but obviously that's not what it is. One side of the package, the Atom from the Flash comic, Page Punchers. Other side, simply says Page Punchers at the bottom. Bottom of the package, we've got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case it helps anybody. And on the back side, here's the Atom, and here is the comic. So no further ado, let's open him up. And I got this figure with the entire wave of Flash Page Punchers from the McFarlane toy store. Like I said before, they're all in stock right now. Alright, now that I got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, a collector's card, a comic book, 2 alternate hands, totally 4 interchangeable hands, and then this sort of shrinking effect that will come out of his belt. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Atom. He's a DC hero that's often a member of the Justice League. The original Atom was Ray Palmer, but when he vanished, Long Ryan Choi took up the mantle of the Atom. He works with the Justice League, but looks considerably different than the original Atom. Ray Palmer, he left his spare-sized changing belt. The Atom typically is a hero that can get smaller. He can't really get larger. That's going to be for his kin, Atom Smasher, to do. So let's take a look at him. Now, when this figure was originally leaked, I thought he looked awful. Looks a lot better in person. I mean, the face under the helmet, it looks a little rough. He's got that atomic symbol on his forehead, another one on his belt. If you look closer, we have blue armor on top of the red suit. A lot of texture on the red. Looks very good. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He's got, I don't know, some breathing tubes going into the helmet. It does look nice, but it's not the Atom that I'm familiar with from the comics. That's for sure. Well, this entire wave, a little bit different looking characters, but they actually all look really good. I'm going to say I think the Atom is my least favorite figure for this wave, but it doesn't mean it's a bad figure. It just sort of tells you how good the other ones are. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. The face behind the helmet just looks a little off to me. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle. It says DC on the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the peg holes on his feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's a replica of the Flash #1, at least the McFarlane toy cover variant. We have Heatwave, Gorilla Grodd, Captain Cold, the Atom, and the Flash. This is the Atom's card. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now let's look at this comic. It's a new series, The Flash. This is #1. I believe this cover is exclusive to the McFarlane toys. We have the 5 figures from this Flash wave. Not too much going on the back side. Here are all 5 of the identical comics that I got from this wave. These 4 figures and Gorilla Grodd. Now, one thing I really don't like about the comic, the way they handle this in the Page Puncher line, I think it would be awesome if they gave you issues 1 through 5, each one with a different figure, maybe completing a story that would have all 4 or 5 of these figures in it. But you know what? Maybe they don't even have all 5 of them out. I can kind of get that. But do something to make them a little bit different cover variants, or at least make the Flash at the top in a different color scheme. Just something to please us collectors. I sure don't need 5 of the exact same comic. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 4 of them. 1 fist and gripping pair, and then 2 open hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. His right hand is a gripping hand, and it looks like it has a trigger finger, and his left hand is a fisted hand. And here's his second pair of hands. These are a couple of open hands. Now let's look at his energy effect. Kind of an oval shape, cast in a semi-transparent plastic. Got a little large part here, and it's got a peg to attach his back on the back of the thing. Here's the Atom with his energy effect attached. It's going right after he taps his belt and starts to shrink. Now this thing does look pretty cool, and it does give you this effect of sort of energy or action going around him, but I wish it came with 2 or 3 of these. You could sort of make it look like the atomic symbol. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at 7 inches tall, which could translate to about 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it's going to rotate from side to side. You're going to be pretty obstructed with the tubes there. You can only turn about that much before it gets to max capacity. You can look up, not very much, down a little bit. Can tilt his head from side to side. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering with a big gap. Bicep cut below that, double jointed elbows below that. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one his waist, rotate around, forward and back, giving him pretty good range of motion in his torso area. Legs, complete dozen splits, not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is minimal. Legs go forward about that far, back, not much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle, which of course is done in the new style. A lot more seamless, not the other ball joints. It's forward and back. Rotation, tilt, rock. And he has toe articulation. Here's a look at the Atom using his incredible shrinking power. For this next scene, let's switch to a cities type setting. Here's the Flash running through the streets of Central City. This is his story after all. And a closer look at Flash, running as fast as he can. He's trying to meet up with the Atom, as he's concerned some of his rogues have teamed up together. Flash meets up with the Atom, and just as he's trying to warn him what's going on, in drops Gorilla Grodd. Loud thud. Everybody's favorite telepathic gorilla. He's here to take out these 2 heroes. Enter Heatwave and Captain Cold. Our heroes are surrounded. Gorilla Grodd has the 2 of them under his mind control. He's determined to take down the Flash today. The Flash and the Atom, they just look at each other and nod. They know what to do. They both go straight to work. Flash enters a speed force, and the Atom begins to shrink down. The Atom shrinks down to a very small size. He jumps up into Captain Cold's freeze ray, disabling it, forcing it to short. Atom is disabling Captain Cold's gun, while the Flash decides to take on Gorilla Grodd. The Atom climbs over Gorilla Grodd's body, working his way toward Heatwave, while Flash keeps the big ape distracted. Atom gets onto Heatwave's flamethrower, disables that as well, easily taking down Heatwave and Captain Cold. And now, our 2 heroes get to deliver the knockout punch to Gorilla Grodd. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other Atom figures. Here he is, next to a DC Direct Arrowverse TV show Atom. I believe this one is Ray Palmer. Then, next to the Mattel Arrowverse Atom. Here he is, next to a couple of really small Atom figures. It's pretty cool to have these, as it's the epitome of the Atom's power. He can shrink to the size of a molecule and get back to normal size. Here's my entire collection of Atom figures. I do wish that I had one sort of classic or iconic looking Atom. As far as actual normal size figures go, I've got this new version and some TV show versions. Nothing classic or iconic from the comics. Here's the Atom, next to the Atom Smasher. Atom Smasher is the godson of the first Atom, which actually isn't even Ray Palmer, it's Albert Rothstein. So this new version is at least the third Atom. Atom Smasher powers are pretty much the opposite of the Atoms. The Atom himself can shrink really small and get normal sized, and then Atom Smasher here, he can go from normal sized to a giant and then back to normal size. Notice he has a similar sort of atomic logo on his chest. Now let's check him out. Next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, with the rest of this wave of Page Punchers, Flash, the Atom, Captain Cold, and Heatwave. Add in Gorilla Grodd, the first mega figure in the Page Puncher line. And this is the entire Flash wave. Each one of these characters is featured in Flash number 1, and they're all on the cover. And here he is, next to the previous wave of Page Punchers. This is the second wave, based off the Injustice 2 comic. It's Batman and Green Arrow. We did see a leaked image of Supergirl recently. She's also from the Injustice 2 comic, and I'm going to assume they're going to release Dr. Fate as well, because those are the 4 characters on the cover of the Injustice 2 comic. And here he is, next to the first series of Page Punchers. These are based off a Black Adam comic, and it looks like Walmart.com finally has the black and white Black Adam in stock to order. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the 2 newest Mega figures, at least before Gorilla Grodd. We've got Bane and Necron. Here's the Atom, next to McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Hush Superman, and the Target exclusive 30th anniversary Batman from Batman the Animated Series. And here he is, next to the Walmart exclusive gold label versions of the Rebirth Shazam, the Speed Metal Dark Flash, Nightfall, Azrael in Batman armor, and the Parallax Hal Jordan. Then, next to the Rebirth Deathstroke and the Court of Owls Talon. And now, next to the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack. Here's the Atom, next to the Dark Knight's Metal Batrocidus and the Speeding Bullets Batman. And here he is, next to the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, the New 52 Static, and the Future State Superman. Then, with the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive gold label paint variants of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow and Red Hood. And now, next to Black Adam Movie Wave. And finally, next to the Blackest Night Wave, Collecto Build Atrocitus. Now let's check him out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know what designs you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, with some DST, or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, it's an okay figure. It's definitely better than I expected it to be. The leaked pictures from a couple months ago did not do this figure justice. His accessory is pretty cool, the energy effect. Articulation is pretty much everything you would expect from a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Only real issue I have with the paint job is his face. It looks very bland. If I were to rate this figure, probably going to give him a 6 out of 10. He is my least favorite of this wave, and I'll admit, I'm enjoying the other 3 figures way more than I expected. I personally thought they all looked like shit when I first saw them, but in hand, I actually like them. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.